All right, moving into the NFC, my bottom four teams. At 13, I got the Rams at 5-12. At 14th, I got the Bucks at 5-12. 15, I got the Cardinals at 2-15. At 16, I got the Carolina Panthers at 2-15.
So I had the exact same order as you.
Okay.
I'll just tell you the difference between me and you, that was just the records. I had the Rams at 5-12, had the Bucks at 5-12, Panthers at 5-12, and then I had the Cardinals at 3-14.
See, okay, so here's my thing with the Panthers. Okay. Let's talk about the Panthers, because it truly doesn't matter how good they are because they don't have their first round pick.
No, right.
And I really tried to keep my bias out of it. I really did. But the Panthers have a really tough schedule.
Oh,
okay.
Terribly tough.
And they have a decent defense. I don't want to say really good. They have a pretty decent defense. But my thing is, I don't know if I trust that O-line and the run game enough to keep them in it. Like, even though if the defense can keep the scores down low, I don't know how much I trust the pass game and run game to score a ton of points. Okay. So even if you look at PFF, right? Last year in total defensive grade, the Panthers were ranked 23rd. So my thing is, if the defense is supposed to be your strong point, I don't really know how, like, you rank 23rd, right? And on offense, they ranked, 26th. So it's just kind of like a bad team. They lose their best player on offense. They get a young quarterback who I think is going to be awesome. I really like Bryce Young. But you saw DJ Shark went down today.
That's what I was just waiting to bring up here.
And it's a hamstring issue. So those tend to linger even when you come back.
Well, so let's take this opportunity real quick, and we'll pivot off this. We'll go back to what you were saying. Just quick tidbit. So yeah, let's take a look here. Well, then who is coming in to replace DJ Chark, right? Okay. Well, Terrace Marshall Jr. is already questionable right now, and he's been dealing with injuries basically his whole career. And then Laviska Shenault behind him. Oh, cool, great. He also has been dealing with injuries his whole career, questionable right now as well. Behind him, Javon Wims. I know that name sticks well with you, right?
Yeah. No.
So do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Like, let's be realistic for a second.
Adam
Like we
Thielen
said,
is your wide receiver one.
And this was what we were saying. If you go back about 3 months, what we said about the Panthers was, well, at least Bryce has a solid group of pass catchers and they have experience. Well, now it's like he has two of these guys healthy. And I think about this more and more. How likely is Adam Thielen really to play 17 games? I'd say about a 10% chance. So this is where things get really tough with the Panthers.
So the Panthers were 21st in run block, but 11th in pass blocking. So hopefully, you hope that their line takes a step forward.
But have you seen them in preseason? That's why I want
I've
to
heard
bring
it's
this
really
up.
bad. But those are also the backups.
Really, but yes, but like even when they've had a few reps where they have had some starters in, it just looks really rough. And it's like, I know it's going to be obviously figuring out how to, they're starting. It's a whole new quarterback. It's a very, his height isn't what matters in this case. It's just his mobility, figuring out, blocking around him is going to be a little bit different than what they're used to. They're going to have to figure it out. It's going to be getting used to it. It's a process. But the point of the matter is, it's not going to work with how it looked in preseason because of how big he is. There's extra pressure on you when you're guarding someone like that. For the Saints, for example, Drew really wasn't getting sacked a lot, if ever, because truly there's a lot of pressure. Like, obscure guy, like you can't be letting that guy when they're that small, you can't. Like they're going to get hurt so much quicker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on this whole line.
There
is. Everyone knows this about Bryce. It's not like it's a secret. It's just
any of these teams I see them playing, I just don't see them moving the ball at will on them.
No,
I really don't.
That's the problem. Is like you're saying, the offense is not that it's terrible. It's very, very super mid.
Yeah.
And then where you have a couple starters on defense that are awesome, and then minus that.
And so here's my thing too. Okay, so they have a couple places they can get wins. They can definitely beat the Texans, right? They can beat the Colts. But here's my thing. Playing the Texans, they're a more like well-rounded team to me. They really are. Like, I like their receivers. I like D'Amico Ryans and what they're going to do for that defense.
Defense is going to be nasty.
It's just like, where do the Panthers get their wins? I have them beating the Colts, and I have them stealing a game versus the Bucks.
No, I mean, honestly, to your point, if Kenyon Green can make a humongous jump this year, true. Honestly, what you said about the Texans is probably true as of right now. I'd say though, minus that, the Texans they're probably pretty close together.
Yeah.
But again, similar statuses of how the team's being built at the moment. So it's not like that's to be unexpected per se.
Right.
Yeah, interesting situation with the Panthers for sure, and it's definitely something to monitor for Bears fans.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I've been paying a lot of attention. Okay, so let's do the next group of teams that don't make the playoffs. So at 12, I have the Giants at 7-10. At 11, I have the Vikings at 7-10.
Wow.
At 10, I have the Packers at 7-10.
Okay, we're fair on that.
Okay. The Commanders I have at 9 at 7-10. The Saints I have at 8 and 9 at 8 and 9.
No foul. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So yeah, let's get into this. I'll tell you mine now. This is going to create some good discourse here because you're going to be kind of sick of this next one.
Okay.
So at 12, I had the Commanders 6-11.
Okay.
But I'll explain myself on that one. Packers we agreed on for sure 7-10. Great minds think alike on that one. The Giants 8-9.
Okay.
Felt really wrong. Very wrong to my boy Dable and everything about that. But I'm sorry, Giants fans. And then I had the Bears rounding out at 8-9. I could have very well see you guys sneaking out at 9-8, but I think it's going to be somewhere right in that range. Either way, they missed the playoffs in the simulation. And then the Vikings at 9-8, last team out.
Okay.
We did agree on the Vikings. I really thought for sure one of us was going to have the Vikings in the playoffs, but
they had 11 one-score games.
that was what did it. I literally going through and I'm like,
and the way I look at it, the Bears had 8.
well, and it's like, and again, how much did they improve or regress off last year? It's like I think things kind of evened out, right? It's like Kirk got older. Yeah, you added Jordan Addison. Yeah, you could pick and choose a few things, but that's my point. If you can go back and forth with things,
But
so it's
I really think people are underrating the loss of Dalvin Cook.
We're gonna see it.
I don't think Alexander Madison is that guy. So so what do we want to talk about here? Let's pick a team to talk about.
So I think we can agree we're going to leave the Bears out of this one.
Yeah,
we've done a lot of Bears
I don't
discourse.
want to talk about the
We've
Bears.
definitely done too much Packers discourse. We're going to leave the Packers out of this one. We did a fair amount of Commanders discourse recently, I feel like, too. I think a good one from here right now, it would either be
Vikings
the
or
Vikings or
Giants.
Giants. Yeah. And I feel like we haven't given the Giants enough love.
All right, let's
I feel
talk
like
about the Giants.
We've done a fair amount of Viking stuff with Kirk.
Here's my thing on the Giants. I actually think they're going to be a better team this year.
Yes. No, exactly.
But it's not going to show up in the record.
That's what sucks. It's like this doesn't feel fair.
Because, okay, so think about it. They have to play the Cowboys twice a year. They have to play the Eagles twice a year. And then they have to play, if I'm not mistaken, the AFC East. So it's like you're going to play the Dolphins, the Bills, who I actually have them stealing a game from.
And that I can see that.
Like the Jets beat them. The Dolphins beat them. I even think the Patriots beat them because I think their defense is so good and I think they'll shut them down. It's just like they get a game against the Rams, they get a game against the Cardinals, but it's just like they play a really rough schedule, and I don't necessarily see them sweeping the Commanders this year.
No, I don't. I literally don't have that happen either. So,
yeah, it's just like they're going to be better because I think you're a second year under Dable, you're in a better culture, but it's just like there's so many mid teams in the NFC besides the Eagles and 49ers. I just don't see how you get more. Okay, here's the thing. I can see them winning a couple more games, but I don't see how you win more than 9. Like realistically.
No, for sure. And like, well, here, I'll even give you a prime example of something that I think that needs to be discussed here. Here we go. This is prime. And this, I think, it's help people understand our point of view, especially on the situation like you're saying. Number one, like everything about what you said about the games he plays is already true enough. How about this, though? When we look at the Giants, specifically the secondary, you got 2 rookie corners that are going to be starting in any type of like nickel and dime sets, right? So we already have like I don't want to say volatile even situation because I am high on both of them. But no matter how good a rookie corner is, they're going to make a few mistakes here and there. It's not going to be seamless. And it's kind of tough to win a lot of games with that situation. And then as far as the secondary goes, the safeties, I don't love either safety. I mean, Xavier McKinney has flashes and he's obviously a productive player. But in terms of being like fantastic in coverage and a few other things along those lines that, there's just the point is he's not a great safety. He's a solid safety. And Pinnock, same kind of concept where it's like, I don't know. I feel like again, that's kind of the point, is the defense is going to be a little bit shaky, I feel like. And then on the O-line, again, I like John Michael Schmidt. I think he's going to be awesome. But let's say he has a really poor rookie season. Then you have, and if Evan Neal plays poor again too,
Yeah.
well, then that's a volatile situation right there. And I don't know how confident I am in Darren Waller staying healthy. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to make like a humongous leap. I think we already know what Daniel Jones is.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
I actually think Darren Waller is going to have a really good year.
So it's if he stays healthy, he will. I just don't know if I think he can.
I think he's going to be like that, not saying to the level, but like the Kelsey of their offense.
Oh, no.
He's just that number one option they feed.
Well, we've been seeing in preseason. Oh, dude. And I'll say this to your point, I'm glad you brought this up. They're going to use him just like how the Saints used to use Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
That's definitely, though. Yeah, no, like, I mean, if you want to talk about like a player comp, that's how they're going to use him in their offense. Like, Dable sees him like, yes, like I just need me a tight end that I can make. I'm going to go line him up at Y. I can go line him up at X. It doesn't even matter. You can literally line this tight up anywhere.
Yeah.
And he can go run routes and he can go body dudes. That's exactly how they're going to use him. I agree with you completely, though. Could be the best year of his career if he just stays healthy. I just don't, me personally, I can't see it right now. I hope I'm wrong. Really, I hope I'm wrong. I'm knocking on wood that I am. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for the Giants. And it's almost like you can't even judge Dable for their success. They're stuck in a shitty situation.
That's why if they make the mistake of like canning him somehow or something, like I don't think you would, right? Yeah, but you know that New York pressure gets.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. That's kind of the X factor in this situation.
Okay, so here's the deal: before you shit on a team and the record, do this because it is hard.
Yeah, no, you can't unless you've done this. You have to step in our shoes.
So, moving on to playoff teams of the NFC. At number 7, I have the 8-9 Seattle Seahawks.
We agreed our record was different.
At number 6, I have the 8-9 Chicago Bears. At number 5, I have the 10-7 Dallas Cowboys. At number 4, I have the 10-7 Lions. At number 3, I have the 10-7 Falcons. At number 2, I have the 13-4 49ers. At number 1, I have the 13-4 Eagles.
All right, bro, here we go. First team in the playoffs I had, we agreed on. Seahawks, a little bit different, though. I had them at 10-7.
Okay.
Number 6, I had the Falcons, 10-7.
Okay.
Number 5, I had the Cowboys at 10-7. 4, we agreed on 2. Detroit Lions at 11-6.
Okay.
Number 3, we got the 49ers, 11-6. Number 2, you're going to, again, I'm going to have to explain this one because everyone's going to point the bias finger at me on this one, but I promise you it's not. I'm going to come to you objectively. I had the Saints at 12-5.
Okay.
And then I had the Eagles winning the conference at 13-4.
Okay, so which team do you want to talk about? So the biggest difference is you had the Bears missing and I had the Saints missing, right?
Yeah, so I feel like we should let me just address that. I don't want to talk about
the Saints.
Let me just address because again, this thing you got to realize, and again, you probably said a few things, thinking we had a few things different. I just had him look, if I thought the Saints were a better team, I picked them to win the game. And if I didn't pick them to win the game. So let's just go over the games I had them losing, I think is the first thing. Well, actually, and let me explain this too. That's the thing is the Saints don't play a lot of games this year where I thought they were the worst team. I had them splitting a lot of division games because I respect our division opponents. They usually play us tough. I had us losing outright to the Jaguars and the Vikings. And I had us losing a game to the Falcons, had us losing a game to the Bucks. And then I had us losing also to, who was the other one? Or am I missing one here? It's like I'm reading the screen, but I'm not seeing where's the last one I had? Oh yeah, and I had this thing sounds weird, but I actually had the Panthers beating us at home because they usually play us tough, and it's things it doesn't. Best thing is if I had them winning that game, and then the Saints are tied for the first seed in the conference, which also doesn't feel right. So it's like
No, I feel you.
It's weird, dude. I don't want it to be this way where it seems like I'm gassing them. I'm not. It's just truthfully, the Saints actually do have the weakest schedule in the league.
Yeah, it's
number one.
It's pretty weak.
So,
I had the Giants beating y'all. I had the Pats beating y'all. I had you splitting with the Bucks. I had you splitting with the Falcons. I had you sweeping the Panthers. I actually have you guys beating the Titans week 1, but I do have Green Bay beating you guys in week 3. I think the Saints are going to be good. It's just like, this was so hard, bro. I really think if Michael Thomas stays healthy, if the Saints defense can play like they should, and Olave takes that next step, Alvin Kamara comes back fresh, you guys actually have a really good team and have a good shot at making the playoffs. But then I look at the playoffs, and it's like, okay, So the Bears have to miss, which is fine. I could see them missing the playoffs. I'm not going to act like they're a shoo-in. But yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. We're pretty much on the same page with everything here. So
I feel like, yeah, well, the one
I just don't. I personally don't see the Saints being 12-5, but I do see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, if things go wrong that you had going right in the opposite sense, like it's like, then yeah, then we're going to be in that territory you have us at right there. So it's like, certainly. And again, we had the Bears with the same record, to be clear. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
You just had, so in your simulation, they just ended up making the playoffs.
Right,
so
right,
we thought like the same thing about the Bears.
Right.
I feel like, what's the team that we'd really wanted? Maybe, maybe we want to give the Falcons a little bit of a talk here?
So here's my thing. I think the Falcons are actually going to be really good as long as Desmond Ridder plays okay.
Oh, no, it all comes down to him. If you gave the Falcons a star quarterback right now, I think a lot of people would agree that they'd be a hyped team.
They might be the favorites in the NFC.
For sure. Like the favorites out of the NFC South, for sure.
Oh, they would be a lock, in my opinion, for the NFC South if they had a star. If they had a top 10 quarterback, they're a lock.
For sure. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, I have them losing to, I actually have the Commanders stealing a game from them. I think the Commanders are sneaky and can beat anybody on any day. Have the Jets beating them. I actually have the Bucks beating them. Funny enough, I have the Colts stealing a game. I just think
if you didn't, they'd have an even better record in your simulation though. So
I have the Colts. I think the Colts from week 14 on is when they hit their stride. I think that's when Anthony Richardson starts to figure it out.
I like that. I mean, that definitely is possible. I just kind of the Colts just stealing a few, but it was like, yeah, I didn't have them stealing a lot of them. But and then yeah, so my thing with the Falcons, I think we had them losing almost all the same games. I just probably had the Saints. Well, no, actually, you said you split with the Saints too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the big difference. Did you have the Titans beating the Falcons?
No. So
yeah, I had them stealing the game from the Commanders. But other than that, yeah, I mean, our Falcons prediction is pretty much the same thing. I think we agree that the NFC South's weak.
Yeah,
they're going to punch that this year.
I think it's Falcons Saints.
Oh no, there's no doubt. Unless Bryce Young plays like an All-Pro rookie year, which was basically a very slim chance of happening.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, there's no doubt.